All right, now we're going to do some multiplying of positives and negatives with some fractions. And the first thing you need to realize about some of the fraction stuff is the following. When you multiply fractions, you multiply the numerator times the numerator and denominator times the denominator. Or I like to use my Arnold voice, denominator. It doesn't really sound like Arnold, or but you know, the Terminator, denominator sound a little alike. But let's do this right here. I have a negative here, so let's do this here. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1, and 3 times 2 is 6. Now I'm going to have a what? Negative times a negative, which means my answer will be positive. And I have 36 over 6, because negative 1 times negative 36 makes 36. 6 times 1 is 6. I can't leave it like that because 6 will go into 36 exactly what? 6 times. Okay? Now then, we have a problem. We have a number divided by a fraction. All right? Do you know what we have to do when we have a number divided by a fraction?
Upside down, upside down, upside down.
Coach Stoney, what was that? Well, that was Diana Ross singing Upside Down. That's about reciprocals. And notice I took the second one only and I flipped it upside down. So there we have that part right there. So we have this 2 over now negative 1. And I can do 8 times 2, which will be 16, over the negative 1. And a positive divided by a negative, and 1 will go into 16 times, makes the answer negative 16. Kind of hard to see the 6 there the way the screen is, but it says negative 16 right there. It says negative 16 right there, you can see very easily. And you had 1 positive and 1 negative. So looking at this one here. Now notice this bar going all the way across means this negative is divided by that fraction. So the first thing I kind of need to do is I have 2 negatives, so I know my answer is going to be what? A positive. We have a little number thing down here.
Upside down, upside down, upside down.
And if you could have seen me behind the camera, you could have seen me dancing. I'm surprised I didn't jiggle the camera there. And notice I have reciprocated it upside down, the second one, not the first one. And now I'm going to have 6 times 6, which is 36 over 1, which is the same thing as 36. So now then I have one more fraction to do. And once again, I'm going to have 1 negative. So I know my answer is going to be negative. But I also need to, before I can divide fractions, I have to
Upside down, upside down, upside down.
I definitely was dancing that time. Glad you couldn't see it. It might have been funny. And notice I reciprocated only the second one. Only the second one. I'm going to take negative 1 times 12, which is negative 12. And 4 times 1 is 4. And 4 will go into negative 12. Notice I have 1 negative. My answer will be negative, and the answer will be negative 3. Kind of hard to see the negative 3 there, but it does pop up right back up there. Okay? So, what have we learned? To multiply integers by modeling. That's where we had all those cubes and stuff we moved around. Or by the rules. I think it's a little easier by the rules and drawing pictures. If you have an odd number of negatives, your answer is negative. An even number of negatives, your answer is positive. All right? And when you divide fractions, you have to multiply by the reciprocal. That was that little Diana Ross's upside down. All right? So, and you have a worksheet you can work on to work on these. Thank you.